Talking about knowledge of the future and television. And in this video clip, I'm going to share a couple of items on the classic Star Trek episode, The Way to Eden. I already did some videos on this episode, so please go back and look at those. Easter Egg Psychic on YouTube is my channel. Over a number of different movies and television shows I've watched, there's a pattern of information and it relates to the Korean conflict. And this is the state of affairs that exists between North and South Korea. It's 2021, January 24th. So I'm going to start to do a couple videos on these anecdotal references that I've found. And they may pertain to the escalation or some major change in the situation on the Korean Peninsula. There are many analysts who believe that the Korean conflict may be the trigger for World War III or some major future military situation on planet Earth. South Korea is basically like an island. There's a state of war that exists between these two countries. North Korea shares a border with China and Russian Federation to the north. The United States is heavily invested in a number of ways in South Korea. North Korea may possess nuclear weapons. Very concerning to have ballistic missiles, which can apparently reach Alaska. They've been fired several times over Japan. They claim to have launched a satellite into orbit. So they have a delivery system and nuclear weapons, apparently. So a number of these things I'm going to read. This is from Wikipedia. The U.S. fought the Korean War, and this involved these two countries, and it went from 1950 to 1953. Yeah, and they never signed a peace treaty, so they're technically still in a state of war. And if you watch the news for any length of time, every couple of months you'll hear something about saber rattling. And this is something that North Korea does a lot. And on the other side, the U.S. carries on these war games in the waters very close to the North Korean borders. So this stuff, it builds tension. So in The Way to Eden, Star Trek. Check this episode out. And alright, there's a blonde girl in this episode. Notice her outfit. Okay, these are the South Korean flag colors. Alright, their group, the hippies, they're barefoot. So think sole, as in shoes. Character in here, he has purple hair. His name is Tongo Rad. And it just so happens that one of the North Korean launch sites for these ballistic missiles that can reach orbit is apparently called Tonghae. So there's an interesting coincidence. I'll give one more hint in here, and this is this regards to their music. All right, so they perform music, they play songs, and the major ballistic missile of North Korea at this time period, it appears to be the Hwasong. There's a girl in here, she's Russian. Russia shares a border with North Korea. I did a couple of videos on The Way to Eden back in September. Please go watch those. They're at my YouTube channel, Easter Egg Psychic. And in those videos I draw the links to Frank Herbert's Dune. And like the most obvious thing in here, it is the use of the word Herbert. And the musical aspect. I think they name Captain Picard as one of the future captains of the Starship Enterprise. And Patrick Stewart, he was in 1984 version of Dune. Along these lines, Kim Jong-un, his name is similar to Dune, right? It could be French, Dune, right? We're talking about one. And this is like another thing they talk about in Way to Eden, right? So, Dune, and draw these relationships. Look at this stuff. I mean, there are many references here. They're talking about North Korea. So go check this stuff out, please.